would meet from 9 to midnight. Oh, we'd discuss everything under the sun. But we had every problem in the world solved during that hour. But after 1 year of meeting with one man, 3 or 4 men came to join me. And one of them was Lynn Kirby, big fellow. 240 pounds, had no use for me and had no use for the church. Until one day God touched him. And he was the one that God used to lay hands on my head and pray for me. That's what God told me to tell him. And poor lad said, I don't know how to pray for anybody. I can't heal anybody. He said, I didn't say anything about you healing me, Leonard. He said, but I wouldn't even know what to say. I said, quit stalling and get your head on my hand on my head and pray for me. And when he did, something happened. And that's over 40 years ago now. Well, I've had a couple of side blows since. But I'm younger now than I was 30 years ago.
Amen.
Well, I feel you. I don't think I look it, but at least I feel it. And every day of my life, I go to the throne of grace.
Yes.
And someone said to me one time, how often do you go to the doctor, Doug? I said, every morning.
That's right.
Every morning? That's right. And his name is Jesus.
Amen.
Dr. Jesus. And I'm not going to tell you all I pray in those mornings, but let me tell you, I'm going to that throne every morning.
Amen.
I'm not against doctors. Oh, I'm glad there was one a few years ago that knew how to operate, take out a gallbladder that was gangrenous, and I'm thankful for that too. And even 10 years ago, as many of you know, that I had a slight, the doctor said it might have been a heart problem. I think it was a case of bad indigestion, but it did affect my heart. And in that intensive care unit here in Bowmanville Hospital, they had stuff pumping into me and things like that. I couldn't sleep, but I could hear, and I heard this all night long. You shall not die but live. You shall not die but live, and declare the works of the Lord. So that's why I know it. I'm trying to declare the works of the Lord.
Yes.
By the way, this word salvation, we've gone through that. It just means to heal, to save from eternal death. From the same root comes soteria, which means being in welfare, prosperity, preservation of salvation. And the third word from the same root is soter, which means to be a savior, to be a liberator, to be a preserver, one who can preserve you, one who can heal you. But again, I repeat it, you have to ask. I'm not saying that God doesn't move if you don't ask, because sometimes he does. But most of the time, it's when you ask and when you bring yourself into line with the Word of God. This is your book. I call this the Christian's Handbook. I used to have an electrician handbook when I was an electrician, and I followed that electrician handbook. But now I follow the Christian handbook, and I read it. I meditate on it, and it's my strength in my life. Now, very quickly now, we're moving on. I think we're going to have to change that clock, Richard, and put it right there for me. That's all right.
It's a waste of time, Mark.
They really are, too. Yeah.
You'll only run if you plug them in, though.
I remember one preacher came into a congregation, and he was in the West. And out there, you know, years ago, they had to take off their belt with their guns in it, and they had to lay them at the door of the church. They wouldn't allow them to have them on when they're in the door of the church. So he came into the church one day, and he said, everyone who has a watch on or a pocket watch, take it out of off your arm or take it out of your pocket right now. And lay it down on the floor, because you won't need it till I'm finished. I'm not going to lay mine down on the floor, but I will put it there. Quickly gone, this is the first part of this last series that I've been on now. The healing ministry is considered in 5 areas. First of all, the healing of the Spirit, which we've already been talking about. That really means when the healing of the Spirit primarily is your relationship with God. And our basic relationship with God is that we are born dead in trespasses and sin, and the light is not on the inside, but it's on the outside, trying to reach in. And through our parents and our churches and our Sunday schools and evangelists and things like that, that light is trying to break through the darkness. And inside of us, before we're born again, we are under the control of the god of this world, which is none other than our enemy of Satan. The Bible calls him the god of this world. In other words, that our flesh nature is obedient to that other nature and not obedient to God. But God works on us, and he keeps sowing the seeds and keeps watering the seed, watering the ground until one day, at 17 years of age, that seed that was sown in my life by my mother and by the evangelists and by the preachers suddenly broke the ground, and I started to grow in my spiritual life. And so the healing of the Spirit is the first prerequisite of entering into the fullness of God. The second one is the healing of past hurts. Now that's the big one. We all have hurts. There's no doubt about it. And those healing of our past hurts mainly deal with our emotional life. Something's happened in my past. And then something happens in my present. And then something inside me revolts against this. And these hurts can affect us in the present in several ways. First of all, we can have bad memories. We can have weak or wounded emotions. We can enter into depression. And I'm appalled at the number of people, even Christian people, who do get on this skid row and end up in depression. I don't mean mild depression. I'm talking about the deep stuff, where most of the time, if you get too deep, you're going to have a good doctor or a good counselor that knows what they're doing to bring you back up. Because if not, the next step of that depression, as you know, is self-destruction. That's suicide. And how many young people today are taking that road out? Taking their own life. It's pitiful. It also can end up with a sense of worthlessness, inferiority. I had someone in not so long ago, none of you, of course. But I had someone in just recently and said, I'm no good. I never will amount to anything. I have no future. I just want to die. Some of you may have gone through that kind of experience in your life. Don't do it. Because Jesus still loves you. And he's able to put your feet on a solid rock.
Amen.
And some kinds of fears and anxieties, these are things that can happen to all of us. And some forms of psychosomatic illnesses, and there are all kinds of them. And any preacher has been exposed, and teachers, and doctors, and psychiatrists are trying to help people to sort out these things from the hurts of our past. And how are they dealt with? Well, first of all, I think that you have to receive or give forgiveness
Yes.
from God and others. If you won't forgive another person, I'm sorry to say that God can't forgive you. Not that he doesn't want to.